you again to Dave Lister and Russ Brown from Express Legal Services. Hello to you both too. Maybe Dave, let me reintroduce you, and I know you were preparing to give a presentation in that breakout room, so I'll hand over to you and you can talk to some of the people on the call about that, and then I'll jump in with a few questions after.
Thanks, Ben. So I'm Dave Lister. I'm founder, director of Express Legal Services, and we've me and my wife Lynn and my family have run this business for almost a quarter of a century now, and we work in the property markets, and I can liken our business to the gold rush in the Yukon, because the guys who made the money there was the guys selling the picks and the shovels, and basically that is what we do in the property market. We provide solicitors and licensed conveyancers nationwide, apart from Scotland, sorry, with all of the reports and searches, environmentals, waters, drainages, coals, you name it, we have a product for it, for all the risk elements for when you buy a property, to give the best title that we can to a lender, best title we can to a purchaser, and the best title that can be registered with the land registry. That is what we do. Very, very busy market. I've never known it not be busy. And it's becoming increasingly busy because as we go through into the digital age, and believe you me, solicitors are very, very slow at moving with digital. We have to push them and pull them all the way. That has brought increased pressures on them, and new markets are opening up for us, especially through digital IDs, due diligence products, cyber security. We are involved with all of that. And we've invested heavily, some £2 million into IT now, and no intention of stopping. We're in for the long haul. So I've got one of my longest serving franchisees with me today, which is Russ Brown. So when we decided to franchise in 2004, one of the first people who knocked on our door was Russ, and he's been with us ever since. So I'm assuming that he's quite a happy chap. But Russ, some of the questions that I would pose to you would be, I know what a pain it was jumping from an employed to a self-employed status. It was a complete culture shock, to be honest, to me, and to the family. But what was your personal experience?
It was a scary one because I was a corporate manager, my previous career was in charge of international sales for a global organization and had the benefits of a corporate background. If something went wrong with my computer, I picked up the phone and a little boy ran around the corner and replaced it quickly. You get used to these comforts, but when you start up on your own, you don't have them things. It's up to you. But I wanted the challenge. I wanted the change in my life. I said before, I was spending 40% on a plane traveling around the world, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be a parent that saw his child grow up and be actively involved in it. And I took the leap of faith. I walked away from a fabulous corporate career and decided to join Express, and I've never looked back. My reservations were only small, really. Was I concerned? Yes. Reality? No, not at all. Failure was not going to be an option. We talked about due diligence earlier on, and Dave will vouch for me, but I knocked on his door with hundreds of questions and they kept on coming. I've been ringing Dave from different departure lounges around the world with more questions, and they never stopped. And if I'm giving any advice to potential franchisees, one thing that I did get from Dave was every single question I asked, I got an answer. It might not be the answer you want to hear, but nevertheless, I got an answer, and you've got to be prepared for that. And the other thing you need to be aware of is while you're asking all these questions, don't forget Dave was interviewing me to see whether I was suitable for his business. So the change of life, yes, it was. I got to take my little girl to school every day from joining Express. And for me, I absolutely loved that element.
So one of your initial reasons for joining Express, Russ, was that you wanted and were desperate for a better work-life balance. So here you are 17 years on. What have you actually achieved?
Now that's a moving goalpost, because what I thought I wanted 17 years ago and what I think I want now have changed. I am home every day. I've gone from getting on a plane from 3 days to 3 weeks to seeing my family every single day. But now the new challenges are there. And I love it. I'm just going to say one thing that Dave promised me all them years ago. He only promised me one thing, and that was, you'll never be bored. And that is true to this day. So what I wanted then and what I want now changes, but it's all positive. And the great thing is I'm in control of all of that. I get to decide what my work balance is. Success is proportional to the hours that you work. If you want to be successful, you put a few hours in. If you're not that bothered, don't bother. But for me, being successful was what I wanted.
So I spend a good part of my business week vetting people to see if they're suitable for our franchise, as do my colleagues on this call. But I've always been curious of how potential franchisee vet the franchisor. So what were the markers that you put down, Russ?
Well, I mentioned about the questions earlier, didn't I? Honesty was the one that struck me, Dave, that you told me warts and all. You said any question that I asked, you'll give me an answer. From listening to other people, I heard horror stories that when you ask your franchisor a question, they'll fob you off with, oh, you don't need to know that information now, or that's not relevant, or you'll find out all in good time. You know, that's smoke and mirrors to me, and I didn't see any of that. I was shown every bit of information I needed to know. But after all the questions, it came down to two elements, Dave. And these two questions were quite simply, number one, do I trust this individual? Do I trust what he said to me for the last couple of months? If the answer to that question is yes, the last question was, well, if I trust him, can I work with him? For me, both answers were yes. And 17 years later, there's still the same answer now.
Yeah, we're still going. So within a volume franchise, volume is I've come to call it a very sexy word over the years, because everybody wants to hear that. We do lots of volume. And it is a sexy word until you have to deal with it. And believe you me, it's very unsexy at that point. And you very quickly, as you had to do, Russ, have to recruit people for yourself, your own staff. So what would have been the plus and minuses for you in doing that?
Staffing was the thing that I was most worried about, because I'd been in an environment where I worked pretty much autonomously. I was on my own. But bringing new people into the business means you've got to relinquish a little bit of control. It's your baby, and you want someone to treat it with the same respect that you do. So bringing someone in was a tough one. I was unbelievably fortunate that the person that I recruited first, after 10 months of being in the business, has got my back and still has my back, and she's been with me over 15 years and still going strong, and is the barometer on how this business runs. She is fantastic, but I've got another member of staff who's 13 years in with me. I've been very lucky with them, but there's always the ones that don't work out, and you can't take it personally. You've got to let them go. Their interest in you changes just as your interest in them will change. Let them go, find someone else and move on.
Okay, Russ, so final question for me, because I can see Ben hovering there. So you're 17 years into this franchise now, and you and I know that you just signed and contracted to take you to 25 years. You must be addicted to the pain. But what are your future plans, Russ?
Finish the job I started 17 years ago is what I keep saying. I haven't finished. I haven't run out of steam. New opportunities present themselves all the time. Just continue going. Get more business out of existing clients. Bring more clients into your business. Spread the word, and enjoy it. And we really do enjoy it. It's a great family.
There you go, Ben. Bang on time.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you spotted what I often get called my scary eyes, which is when I'm
Yes.
trying to get a guest to stop talking, and we're about to hit a break or something. So well spotted. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Russ. Really, really interesting. Thank you for running us through all of that.